Nickelodeon Kart Racer 3 Slime Speedway is here. This is the third entry in the Nick Kart Racers series, and it is available now on Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series S and Series X, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC. Plus, Nick Kart Racer 3 has a Turbo Edition, which is also available now. The Turbo Edition includes bonus content like playable racers Zuko and Eastman and Laird's comic book Raphael. You know I gotta get that full roster of characters, so I had to go for the Turbo myself, and I have mostly been playing the Turbo Edition on my Nintendo Switch. And if you're interested in playing Nick Kart Racers 3, go check out the link in the description for this video. After having tried out this game for myself, I have to say, if you're a fan of the kart racer video game genre, you will not be disappointed with Nick Kart Racers 3. And if you're a Nickelodeon fan in general, this game won't let you down either. It is jam-packed with Nickelodeon references. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a Nick game with so many references, and they get pretty obscure sometimes. In that sense, this game feels tailor-made for hardcore Nickelodeon fans to pick it apart and see what there is to discover. So this is both quality and quantity we are talking here with the Nickelodeon references. I will try not to spend this entire video pointing out all my favorite references, but I could totally do that if I wanted to. There's so many of them. The game boasts 36 tracks, and the vehicles have tons of customizable options like different karts and bikes, wheels and other kart parts, and even various paint jobs to choose from. And Nick Kart Racer 3 has over 40 Nickelodeon characters and over 90 crew members, pulled from iconic Nickelodeon shows like SpongeBob SquarePants, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and plenty more. I'll talk more about the crew members and the characters later on. But I should mention the playable characters are fully voiced. Voiceovers are a first for the Nickelodeon Kart Racers series, and it really helps you feel immersed in the game to hear the characters talking. Some of these characters' voices are as memorable as the characters themselves, after all, and many of the lines of dialogue contain some of the best references to the characters' series. I believe all the same voice actors from Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl have reprised their respective roles to voice their characters once again here. Except I think the voice of Aang, who I believe is different. And JoJo Siwa seems to be silent. I haven't heard her talk myself yet anyway. Regardless, many of these voice actors are the characters' original voice actors, and it's a real treat to hear them once again voicing these characters in this game. Anyway, before I get too deep talking about the game itself, I gotta talk roster speculation stuff. So let's rewind slightly and catch up a bit, as I made a video about Nick Kart Racers 3 a few weeks ago. In that video, I was attempting to predict the roster. At the time I made that video, there were 6 unknown racers yet to be officially revealed, and the Nick Kart Racer Twitter account had been posting hints each week, asking people to guess who would be revealed next and potentially win a free copy of the game. At the time of my last video, the latest tweet was this one, which turned out to be for the remaining Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle characters. I didn't notice before, but in that first tweet, before they revealed the turtles, the letters TMNT are all capitalized, a clever clue. This was my prediction for the final roster, and with those 3 remaining turtles confirmed, my guess at the final 3 racers were Tommy, Angelica, and Squidina. The following week, Nick Kart Racers' Twitter account posted this tweet, which was set to unveil the final 3 yet-to-be-revealed racers. In this image, you can barely see the silhouettes of the characters, but it did appear my guess for Squidina was going to be accurate. The other 2 characters were tougher to figure out, though. So tough, in fact, they followed it up a few days later with this tweet, as apparently no one had guessed correctly, so they showed off a bit more of each of these characters' silhouettes. Along with Squidina, it seemed to be Patrick's arm and then somebody's boot. The answer turned out to be Squidina and Camp Coral, SpongeBob, and Patrick as our final 3 racers. So my prediction was not accurate. Shockingly, this meant Tommy and Angelica are not part of this game's playable character roster. So from last game's roster, Shredder, Heifer, Tommy, and Angelica have been cut. Shredder and Heifer are somewhat understandable. I've heard some people theorizing because of the customizable karts and bikes, it may have been hard to implement those 2 characters, as Shredder has a cape and Heifer has an extremely large round body, both of which could cause potential clipping issues and possibly limit the customizability of the vehicles. Plus, TMNT has a lot of characters already between the 4 turtles and April, and while Rocko's Modern Life is one of my favorite Nicktoons, it isn't the biggest show Nickelodeon has these days, and I can see how it's adequately represented with just Rocko as the one playable racer from that show, even if I really would have loved to see Shredder and Heifer here. But I'm not gonna lie, this really baffled me how Tommy and Angelica didn't make the cut. Rugrats was like the flagship Nickelodeon show before SpongeBob, and it's even gotten a revival, so it isn't obscure these days either. We of course do have Rugrats characters on the roster, but the group is Chucky, Susie, Reptar, and Purple Reptar, which is a really odd 4 characters to pick from Rugrats to say the least. Purple Reptar feels more like an Echo Fighter or alt costume than a whole character. I wonder if that spot was supposed supposed to go to Tommy before there was maybe an issue adding him. I'm not sure if a character gets represented in this game as a crew member, counts them out as becoming a playable racer at some point in the future, but I've seen Angelica, Heifer, and Shredder as part of the game's crew members already. However, Tommy I have not seen anywhere in the game. I wonder if maybe the voice of Tommy couldn't record for them for whatever reason, so they opted to hold off on adding Tommy until later, maybe with DLC or something. Potentially that's why we have Purple Reptar, a quick Rugrats character stand-in for the spot that was supposed to be Tommy, but that's just a theory. Well, right now we don't know for sure if this game is getting any further DLC. Yesterday, the Nick Kart Racers Twitter did write this, and it says, "We recommend picking up the Turbo Edition to play Zuko/Ian L. Raph on day one. Turbo Pack content will be available as standalone DLC later this year." So, if the Turbo Edition will be available as DLC later on, that's probably a good sign there could be more DLC coming later. And if that's the case, then I'd say this is a very strong base roster to build off of. If the Turbo Edition is a peek at what DLC could be looking like going forward, we could totally get Tommy added later on. Maybe they'll do DLC packs, much like what we got here with Zuko, a popularly requested character, paired with an alt costume-like character with the comic book Raphael. Maybe even the rest of the Turtles could get their comic book version variants too. And then some crew members and paint jobs like we got with the Turbo Edition. Maybe even more tracks. I think after a few DLC packs, I would be very satisfied with this roster. Characters like Tommy and maybe Nigel Thornberry could show up, and series like Angry Beavers and Rocket Power could get added too. If possible, of course, I'm sure everyone would love to see Timmy and Fairly OddParents content in this game too. And there's plenty more obscure stuff I'd love to see in the game as well if DLC went on long enough to get that. But for now, I'll just be hopeful we get any DLC, and if we do, I'm hoping we get Tommy and a couple more yet to be represented Nicktoon characters and shows for now. If we got that, I think this would be a perfect roster. Okay, so on that note of a hopeful, bright future with the prospect of potentially getting DLC for this game, let's talk about what Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 has to offer here at launch. Obviously, as a kart racer, this game is built for multiplayer. You can play with up to 4 players local multiplayer and up to 12 players multiplayer online. I haven't had a chance to try multiplayer out yet myself, but next time I have a game night, it'll definitely involve racing against some friends as Nickelodeon characters. This game is pretty fun, and I'm dying to play it multiplayer. If you've played a kart racing game before, you'll feel right at home with Nick Kart Racers 3. Although the game does have some gameplay mechanics that are completely unique to it. It adds some unique nuances to the experience. Essentially, you choose between different modes to play, like free race or time trials. I love that clock they use here looks like that old classic Nickelodeon alarm clock, by the way. Again, lots of cool references here. Generally, the gameplay should be pretty familiar to anyone who's played a kart racing game before. You do stuff like drift around corners, do tricks off of jumps, and collect items that can boost your speed or attack opponents, typical kart racer stuff. The item boxes in this game are the Kids' Choice Award looking Nickelodeon blimps, and they come in various colors that can give out different types of items, or one that gives out every type of item. They also use the Kids' Choice Award blimp once again as the traffic light at the start of a race, time pressing the acceleration button with each of the circles filling up for a boost at the start of a race. Each character in the game has their own different unique stats, and not every character is unlocked at the start. More on unlocking stuff in a little bit. You then customize your cart or bike, and this will change your stats as well. Wacky Deli, Old, Bold, and Brash, Dangerous Lumber. Yeah, it's hard not to choose some of this stuff just out of love for the source material. You then choose your crew members, also plenty of these to unlock. This doesn't seem to even be close to all of them, and they go hard on the character references here. I mean, look at some of these. Does anyone even remember Gloria from Hey Arnold? She was like a prototype Lila in some of the early episodes. She was this like perfect girl rival to Helga, and yet she's here. Why not? I barely remember her. Anyway, crew members consist of a chief, a crew mechanic, and a crew engineer. Chief characters are essentially a special move that you're able to perform when your slime meter is full, while mechanics and engineers tend to be more passive abilities. These are not linked to the slime meter, and they have a cooldown time that fill up and then can be activated again. And in certain modes, just like how you can shut off items, you can also choose to shut off the crew members, or just shut off the crew engineers and mechanics and have the chiefs. It's up to you, whatever you prefer. Personally, though, I had a blast playing with the different crew members and chiefs, and figuring out all the combinations that worked well together. It adds a huge layer of strategy and allows for tons of Nickelodeon character cameos, which of course I'm all about. Alright, so about that slime meter I mentioned that fills up so you can use the chief skill, this game has a lot of slime everywhere, and you want to collect as much of it as you can as often as possible. This will build up your slime meter, and when it's full you can use your chief skill. Basically a special unique ability that works sort of like an item that is unique to every one of the different chief characters. Boosts, shields, projectile attacks, there's lots of cool abilities to try out with the different chiefs. And whoever you end up choosing to use as your chief character for that race, their special ability is going to factor into your racing strategy. So pay attention to collecting slime and use them well. One major way to get slime is by collecting slime coins. You can hold up to 10 total and you go a little faster the more you have. But even when you're full, they still give you a boost to that slime meter. If you get hit, you will lose 3 slime coins though. And mattering to how many you have collected when you finish a race, you'll get those coins to spend later to unlock stuff. So you can earn up to 10 coins for every race you play. Although there are other ways to get coins too. For example, the Slime Scramble mode has you competing in different trophy circuits, consisting of 4 different tracks. This should be familiar to anyone who's played games like Mario Kart. You choose which speed you want to play, which is basically a difficulty setting, then which circuit you want to play. Check out the names of some of these circuits, again, great references. Cynthia, she's a really cool dancer. Cynthia, boogie to the groove now. Anyway, as always, you're trying to get first place, and you get points for which place you come in every single race. And those points add up between the 4 races, and you can earn stars for that circuit. 3 stars for a perfect 48-point score. That means you came in first place all 4 races. Completing these sometimes unlocks stuff too. I've had that happen. And at the end of the race, they have these medals for different accomplishments, like the most jumps or something. And you can earn some extra slime coins for winning some of these medals. Although as far as I can tell, it seems to be random which of these awards they actually give out at the end, so it's hard to really plan for it. Anyway, the tracks are gorgeous in this game. I don't think I've mentioned the graphics yet, but this game looks really great. 36 tracks to choose from, and again, tons of great references for these tracks. The Whale Aquarium from Hey Arnold, Foodcordia, the planet Zim got banished to for ruining Operation Impending Doom 1, the closed in a bubble, not really outdoor place Rocco went camping at, and some of the music tracks are pretty catchy too. Some of these tracks are reworked versions of tracks from older Nick Kart Racer games, and some of them are new. Lots of stuff for tons of Nickelodeon series here. The list for tracks is incredible, check it out. My favorite is probably the Toy Palace track because it's got the Thorg hungry, Thorg want eat guy on it. Anyway, once you've played enough and racked up some slime coins, you can head over to the garage, which is basically the game's shop. And you can use the coins you've earned to purchase more characters, or carts, or cart parts, or new paint jobs, or chiefs and crew members. Honestly, you're going to have to play a lot of races to unlock everything. But not everything that's unlockable in the game is unlockable with coins in the garage. Some things have to be unlocked other ways. And this is where we come to probably my favorite mode in the whole game, challenges. In this mode, you choose a challenge, and each one has an objective. Sometimes it's just like finishing a race, but other times it has very specific tasks that you have to complete. And these challenges can earn you rewards, like crew members, that you can't buy in the garage. Complete enough challenges in one of the numbered challenge sets, and you'll be able to face a boss race at the bottom. It's a character you haven't unlocked yet that you have to race against, and if you win, you unlock them. This is such a fun way to unlock crew members and characters. Playing through all the challenges is going to keep me busy for a while. And you can unlock stuff other ways too. I haven't seen everything this game has to offer yet. For instance, there are non-racing arena game modes. Demolition, where you try to be the first to hit your opponent 10 times. Control the Golden Spatula, where you try and grab the Golden Spatula or knock it away from your opponent and be the first to hold onto it for 15 seconds for 3 different interval times to win. Slime Trails, which reminds me of Splatoon. You leave a trail of slime behind you as you race, and 2 teams compete to try and slime up the arena with their specific colored slime, the most before the time runs out. And Jelly Spotters, one team's the jellyfish while the other team tries to catch them in their nets, and the teams switch roles each match. I was just trying out some of these arena games and I ended up unlocking something. Same with while I was playing the Slime Scramble, I unlocked something randomly. So while buying specific things in the garage or completing specific challenges will unlock specific things, other modes unlock stuff too. I'm unsure how random the other modes unlocking stuff is, or if it's actually something I did specifically that triggered a specific thing to get unlocked. I'm saying specific a lot here. There's other unique things going on in the game too, like the double dares. They're objectives that pop up at the beginning of each race. Things like hit an opponent with 3 projectiles. The first player to complete a double dare objective will gain a free item reward automatically. And there's these purple slime speedways where you gain lots of slime and have to jump over these obstacles by timing your jump button presses. Actually, this game has too much for me to explain in this video. Just give the game a try for yourself. Again, it's available now, so the best way to see what this game has to offer is to just try it out for yourself. One final thing I want to mention quickly is that the game has the option for auto acceleration and motion sensors. Kart racing games with auto acceleration and motion controls are one of the very few games extremely young children can play. A friend of mine has a 4-year-old son, and while he's just now starting to branch out and play different video games, for the past couple years, the one type of game he's really been able to play has been kart racing games. In particular, the ones that have the auto acceleration and motion control options. Moving a steering wheel controller left and right is a lot easier for young kids whose fine motor skills are still fairly limited. So I'm happy to see this game has that feature here and can be enjoyed by younger gamers. I don't think any preschool age kids out there will be able to necessarily unlock everything in this game, but having a game a young kid is able to play alongside an older parent or something in some capacity is sort of a rare thing. So I'm happy to see this game has that option. Well, that's Nick Kart Racers 3. Again, it's available now on Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PS4, PS5, and PC. So go pick it up, and don't forget the Turbo Edition option if that bonus content interests you. And let's all hope this game gets some DLC. The game's customizable vehicles, tracks, and vast collection of crew members is fantastic, but I'd still love to see some more, especially if they can fill in some of the holes here, like Tommy being missing, and potentially add some more Nicktoons series like Wild Thornberrys, Angry Beavers, Fairly Odd Parents, and Rocket Power. Alright, well that's everything I have to say about Nick Kart Racers 3. If you have any thoughts or comments about anything I talked about in this video, leave them below.
Remember to like the video, leave a comment in the section below, and subscribe to Papa Gino's!
Twitter, Patreon, Discord, Twitch.